please ensure that you have read and understood all instructions on the screen before undertaking this job. Start by parking the vehicle on flat, level ground with the handbrake applied. Turn the vehicle off and ensure both front and rear wheels are suitably chocked and the vehicle is safely secured before proceeding.
What's up guys, today we're going to be doing an install of our Superior Engineering Superflex arms on this 79 series Land Cruiser. This does work across your 80, 105 and your pre-DPF 79 series. Let's get into it. First things first, we're going to start by pulling the old arms out so we can get in there. With this one as well, you are going to have to remove the rear tie rod from the back of the diff, as this Superflex arm has a hole for the tie rod to thread through. I want to start with removing the front two bolts out of the diff completely. That way the diff's free to rotate, and then we can begin on installing the driver's side arm. Before pulling any bolts out, you want to make sure that the diff is supported, especially like we are working up on the hoist. If you're working at home, it's very easy to just put the chassis on jack stands, have your trolley jack underneath the diff housing itself. That way you've got some support for the diff. It can't just drop away. It makes things a lot safer to work under the car. So now we've got the nuts off these back two bolts. It's time to support the arm using just your soft blow, dead blow hammer. Knock that front bolt out. It'll swing down. You obviously just want to support the weight of the arm. That way we can get back, pull this back bolt out without dropping the arm away and get it removed nice and safely. Make sure on the driver's side here, you keep your factory bolts. They're getting retained, put back into the vehicle. Ours on the driver's side don't need to be replaced at all. Now, as this is a Superflex kit, you're going to have two different radius arms. You obviously want to put the factory style in the driver's side of the vehicle. So this just goes straight in like the normal factory radius arms come back out. Moved onto the passenger side now, and as this is going to be the Superflex on this side, I'm gonna have to unbolt the sway bar. I'm gonna tilt it up out the way and just hold it up. I'll probably just hold it up with a strap or a zip tie or something like that, because we actually have to remove the factory sway bar mount from the top of the radius arm mount on this side, as the sway bar will now mount back to the top of the Superflex arm itself. Now the sway bar's held up out of the way, we can get the grinder out just to knock this sway bar mount in off here off the top of the radius arm mount, and we're good to go. Now we've cut the sway bar mount off, we've given it a quick clean up with the flap disc, we'll give it a quick spray and some paint, let that dry off, we'll come back in 20 minutes and fit the radius arm up. The paint's all dry now, so we can remove this arm, that way we can get stuck into putting the Superflex arm in this side. So to get the Superflex arms in, we're firstly going to put the plates up on the front mount of the diff housing, that way these can hang and then we can lift the arm into the back. Making sure when lifting the passenger side arm into place, you slot the rear tie rod that's behind the diff between the two bushes in the arm, so it sits between, as this is the clearance point for the Superflex arm on the Land Cruisers. Once that's into place like that, you can lift those plates into position, sliding the lower bolt through, and then begin by moving to the back of the arm to slide that main bolt through as well. So the sway bar extension we've got here is for the driver's side of the vehicle, as on the passenger side, the sway bar now mounts to the Superflex arm itself. So we can slot this into the original diff mounted sway bar hole, so putting the factory lower bolt in, and then moving to the top, the new supplied bolt that comes with this sway bar extension in the Superflex kit. Now it's time to start talking the bolts of spec that are shown on screen now, starting at the diff end of the radius arm, making sure these are torqued up using Loctite 262. Whilst we're doing this, make sure you leave the rearmost bolts that are mounted to the chassis completely loose, lowering the vehicle back onto the ground under its own weight. Then we can use that Loctite 262 and tighten these up, making sure there's no extra torque put into those bushes from lowering it down to ride height. That's everything done on our Superflex arms. Once everything's tightened up, the car's back on the ground, you're ready to hit the road.